Madam President, we listened very closely to the statement made by the Secretary General. We also noted, Secretary General, the fact that yesterday you instantly publicly reacted and condemned the actions by Iran. It is regrettable that, unlike the meeting today, you did not propose to brief the Council on the 2nd of April, where, upon Russian initiative, an emergency briefing was called to discuss the Israeli strike against the consular premises in Damascus. We would like to also see a greater activity on your part so as to convey to members of the Council information on other, no less turbulent topics for the Middle East today. For example, about the now regular attacks by Israel against neighboring Syria and Lebanon. If such such things will continue unnoticed, then your appeals to restraint by all parties which we share can become futile. Distinguished colleagues, when we met in this chamber on the 2nd of April so as to discuss the strike by Israel against the consular premises of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Damascus, we warned that what was needed was a strong and unified signal by the Council that such actions were unacceptable. And not only against the sovereign states of Iran or Syria, and not only in the Middle East, but anywhere in the world. We called upon the colleagues in Security Council to clearly and unequivocally condemn such reckless steps to make sure that they don't get repeated. We also warned that otherwise the risk of a repeat of such acts and the general escalation in the region would grow manifold. We even proposed a draft press statement by the Security Council, and this was put together on the basis of standards for such cases, depoliticized language. And what did we hear at that time from our Western delegations? They said that for them not everything was clear and obvious, and what was necessary was to assess and see whether such a signal from the Council will help stabilize the situation in the region. The United States, UK, and France there essentially declined to confirm that the basic principles of international law about the inviolability of diplomatic and consular facilities, which are enshrined in the Vienna Conventions on this issue, apply equally to all states. And the outcome is now clear for everyone to see. You know very well that an attack against a diplomatic representation is a casus belli under international law. And if a Western representation had been hit, you would immediately have rained down reprisals and would argued that you were right about this in this very chamber. And this is because for you, everything that has to do with Western representations and Western citizens is sacred. It needs to be protected. But when it comes to other countries, their rights, including the right to self-defense, about their nationals, well, that's a different matter, as you like to say. What happens then is you activate your favorite argumentation about lack of information, you start doing legalistic hair splitting, etc. And today in the Security Council, what we're witnessing is a display of hypocrisy and double standards, which it's almost embarrassing to watch. Russia has warned on many an occasion that the fact that many crises in the Middle East are unsettled, first and foremost in the area of Israeli and Palestinian conflict, which are frequently fueled by irresponsible, unilateral, and provocative acts, will lead to a growth of tension in the whole region. We have stated on many an occasion that no country in the Middle East or Northern Africa should become an arena for regional or international confrontation or an arena for settling political scores. What happened in the night of the 14th of April did not happen in a vacuum. The steps undertaken by Iraq became a reaction to a disgraceful inaction by the Security Council. And a reaction to an egregious attack by Israel against Damascus, and not the first one, because Syria is constantly being bombarded by Israel. Many of you today did not find the courage to state clearly that the outburst of violence in the Middle East is developing against the background of an operation which is lasting more than 6 months, is unprecedented in terms of the number of victims, an operation conducted by West Jerusalem in Gaza and West Bank. And this is despite an unambiguous demand in Security Council Resolution 2728 to cease fire immediately. Such silence about the deep root of the crisis is unacceptable, we think, especially against the background of the tension surrounding Iran, which is fueled by the US and other colleagues, and the fact that Israel is not complying with the Security Council resolutions is an obvious disrespect shown to the Council, to all of you who are here in the members' seats, and a complete disregard to the decisions made by the Security Council. And non-compliance with Security Council decisions is not something that one should get away with, and it's fraught with sanctions against the violator. Madam President, we recall very well the dangerous escalations in January 2020 when the region was on the brink of a conflict as a result of an illegal elimination by the United States on Iraqi territory of Qasem Soleimani and a number of other Iraqi officials. But Washington did not draw appropriate conclusions from that, and as a result, the reckless acts undermining stability, security, and sovereignty of regional neighbors of Iran are continuing. We call on all involved in the incident, all parties involved in the incident, to exercise restraint under the extremely tense situation on the ground in the Middle East. And the obvious risk of the conflict growing and becoming region-wide. We expect that the regional states will resolve all of the issues they have using political and diplomatic means only. We also think it's important to make sure that the constructive international players assisted in this matter. The spiral of confrontation and bloodshed must be stopped. We think it's urgent for the entire international community to undertake all efforts necessary to de-escalate the situation. Otherwise, the region could become drawn into a vicious cycle of mutual attacks and violence. In this regard, we note the signal sent by Tehran that they do not seek a further military escalation against Israel. And we urge West Jerusalem to follow suit and reject the practice of provocative use of force in the Middle East, as they are fraught with extremely dangerous risks and consequences for the whole region, which is already destabilized as a result of intensified Israeli-Palestinian confrontation. I thank you.